Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to get into one of the most fundamental, most powerful building blocks in all of programming. We're talking about the variable. It's truly the secret ingredient that makes all software work.
Just think about it for a sec. When you log into an app, you see your profile picture, your name, your messages. But when I log in, I see all mine. The app itself looks the same, but the information, the data, is totally unique to each of us. So how does that even work? Well, the answer is this one simple but incredibly powerful concept.
You guessed it, variables. They're pretty much the secret sauce behind all of this personalization. The best way to think about them is as little containers for information. They're like these little storage units that can hold a different value for every single person, which makes your experience feel like it was built just for you.
So let's get a bit more specific. What exactly is a variable? At its core, it's really just a named container, a reserved spot in the computer's memory where you can stash a piece of info. It's got two parts: a name, which is kind of like the label you put on the container, and a value, which is whatever you decide to put inside.
To make this super clear, let's use the magic box analogy. Okay, step 1. Just picture a simple storage box. This is your spot in the computer's memory. Step 2. You've got to give that box a label so you can find it later, right? Let's call it user_name. And finally, step 3. You put something inside it, the actual data, like the name Sazia. And there you have it. That's a variable. It's that simple.
All right, so that's the what. We get the idea of a magic box, but how do we actually create one of these things in Python? Well, the way you write it is super clean, logical, and really easy to read.
Let's break down the anatomy of a variable in Python. Take this line, age:int equals 28. First up, we have the name, age. That's our label. Simple enough. Next is something called the type hint, the :int part. This is a handy feature in modern Python. That's like leaving a note saying, hey, this box is for whole numbers, also known as integers. Then you've got the equal sign. This isn't for comparison, it's the assignment operator. Its only job is to put the value on the right into the box on the left. And finally, the value itself. 28, name, type, assignment, value. That's the whole pattern.
Now, that type we mentioned is actually really important. It tells Python what kind of data it's working with. An int is for whole numbers. A string, which is short for string, is for text. And a float is for any number that has a decimal point. And this matters, because knowing the type lets Python do the right things. Like you can do math with numbers, but you can't really add the word hello to 28, right?
And just like labeling a real box, there are a few rules you've got to follow. You can't just write anything. For names that have more than one word, the Python community really prefers what's called snake case, where you connect words with an underscore. Also, names can only have letters, numbers, and underscores. They can't start with a number, and you absolutely can't use any special characters like spaces or exclamation points.
Okay, and here is a classic trip-up for beginners. You have to remember, Python is case-sensitive. That means the variable genome_height with a lowercase g is a totally different box from genome_height with a capital G. If you create the first one, but then ask for the second, Python will just throw its hands up and give you a name error. It's basically saying, I have no idea what genome_height is. You never told me about it. Okay, so we know what they are and we know how to make them, but why are they so essential? Why are they the absolute cornerstone of programming? Well, let's get into their two main superpowers. Their first and maybe most important superpower is the ability to track change. See, variables aren't static. Their whole purpose is to vary. This is what lets your program remember a value and then update it as things happen. Think of a score in a game that keeps going up. And there are two main ways this change can happen. On one hand, you can just overwrite a value, completely replacing whatever was in the box before. Or, and this is where it gets really powerful, you can update it. Look at this line, score equals score plus 50. What this does is it first looks at the current value inside score, adds 50 to it, and then saves that new results right back into the same variable. This is exactly how you keep a running total.
Their second superpower is reusability, and this connects directly to a golden rule in programming called DRY, which stands for Don't Repeat Yourself.
Imagine you had code that looked like this. You see how you're doing the exact same calculation, 49 divided by 7, over and over again? This is inefficient, but even worse, it's risky. What happens if you need to change that calculation? You'd have to hunt down every single place you wrote it and hope you don't miss one.
So the solution is to follow that DRY principle. Instead of repeating all that work, you just do it one time. We calculate 49 divided by 7, and we store that answer in a variable. Let's call it dog_age. And now, look at how much cleaner this is. We just reuse our dog age variable wherever we need that value. And this isn't just about saving some typing. It's about creating code that's reliable and super easy to manage. If that calculation ever needs to change, you just change it in one single place, and you know with 100% confidence that your entire program is instantly correct. That right there is the key to building good software.
So let's wrap this all up. What are the big takeaways? First, a variable is just a labeled box for storing your data. Second, the basic way to write one is name type equals value. And most importantly, variables are absolutely essential because they let your code track changes and keep it super efficient by not repeating yourself.
So now that you're in on the secret, I promise you're going to start seeing variables everywhere. When your music app recommends a song just for you, or a shopping site remembers what's in your cart, that's all powered by variables storing your own unique information. So my question for you is, where else do you see variables at work? Thanks for diving into this with me.